Okay, everyone, you know what time it is. We're back with another installment of Midweek Music Maelstrom. And this has been so much fun. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in and given support. Our interview with the Horribles just hit over 1,000 views. So we're so happy about that. And I'm stoked to be here with 21st Century Vampires. So we have Henry and Lo, and we're going to dive into all the new stuff they have planned. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
What's up? I'm Henry Graves from 21st Century Vampire.
What's up? I'm Lo from 21st Century Vampire.
So when you guys got started, was this just like an impulsive project? Did you have any previous experience in other musical endeavors?
You want to go first? Yeah, okay. I've been thinking about this recently too. It's like, what if I didn't have the drive to do music? What would I want to do? I basically at a young age had no interest in doing anything else but music. And my mom kind of understood, but also didn't understand. She's like, that's going to take a very long time. You're going to be really broke. That's a really hard road. And I'm like, I am ready to live out of a van and just play shows wherever, if that's the case. But I did what I could, and I was doing like live acoustic shows in the city that I'm currently in. And I did an opener for my guitarist's band, and that's how we met. And then later on, we ended up forming the band together. So.
Yeah.
Sorry. So how would you describe the sound of 21CV?
I mean, our main inspiration that we used was Queen of the Damned. So we wanted to mix that style for the whole album, pretty much that mixed with a poppier version. So we split it half and half and tried to combine anything like that together. But mainly it was just that movie that really inspired it all to the point that we are right now.
I noticed that because, on Cut Up 21CV, you've got, your guitars and your drums, and then In the Dark kind of has more of an electronic driven sound.
Yeah, that one was with our electronic side, we tried to use Muse as an inspiration a lot. So we wanted to mix the 90s heaviness with a Muse style that they kind of do today. And that's really where the split came from. So we kept that in mind through the whole record. Each song we used different inspirations from different bands, but we wanted to keep the same feel. So we always came back to that a lot.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Kind of like a lot of different inspirations to the point where we didn't want someone to listen to our music and then off the bat just kind of place us somewhere. We wanted them to kind of take a while to savor it, and then as we told them who our inspirations were, for them to start to be able to pick out those sounds as they listen to it.
Where could someone find your music if they want to hear more from 21st Century Vampire?
That is all over the place. We have like Spotify, YouTube, Deezer, Apple Music. Anything else? Well,
I mean, it's just pretty much on every platform you can imagine. So anywhere you can find it.
Yeah, we go through CD Baby, so it just kind of puts it on as many platforms as it can. So
yeah,
try to make this stuff very available.
What is the songwriting process like for you guys?
The earlier stages, I would make the backing tracks on my laptop, and then I would send them to Lo, and he would record drums and guitar, and then we would meet up a couple weeks later in the studio and have the backing tracks and drums fleshed out. And I think either he would have it ready then, or we'd come back at a later date and then record the full song once he had the backing tracks kind of laid out. There was other times where Lo would write a full backing track of guitar and drums, and I would just write like vocals to it.
Okay. So what would you say, apart from Queen of the Dam, have been like some really strong musical inspirations for you as far as like other musical artists?
it would definitely be Korn and Jonathan Davis, and just all of the heavy things that we loved growing up. We wanted to mix them with the new stuff too. So it was really all over the place. Like you said, it's so hard to decide, but I would say that Korn was a really important driver for tone, definitely.
And for you, Henry?
We had like punk. I think that was more so like Green Day and Blue October, and some of the music that I listened to before I started was like Bring Me Horizon, and most of the music that I listen to changes monthly almost, and so each I guess section of the album I was listening to something different. And I think at one point we also put like some Kendrick Lamar just inspirational bass lines from that into our songs. Like, kind of really liked how heavily his music was, or certain songs were, so we kind of made a couple of our songs super bassy in inspiration of that.
So your Spotify Wrapped must look insane.
We actually just got it today, and we have 8,000 streams.
I saw.
Yeah, it's great. We're really excited and blown away just by that. When we released it at the beginning of this year, we really didn't know how big it was going to get, but I'm super happy with the growth and the point that we're at right now.
So how long has 21st Century Vampire been around?
2022 will be 5 years.
Wow. So any new projects coming up?
Go ahead, Henry.
I was gonna say we got some special stuff for next year. I mean, obviously we'll try to do our best to market and hopefully play some shows with the first album, but obviously with most musicians, it's like, as you're writing an album, by the time you're finished with it, you're already ready to move on to the next best thing, and kind of push yourself to do better. And so like a lot of these songs in the album itself, they're, like I said, it's about 3 or 4 years old now. So we've already been writing new music. It's kind of just a habit, you never stop. And so I'm excited to go back through our process and start on new projects as well.
Oh, wow. So it is time for the proverbial question on Midweek Music Maelstrom. Have you ever performed a show, been to a show, and had something absolutely crazy happen?
You do that one, Lo, first.
I mean, I have an embarrassing story, but
I'm all ears.
my old band was playing at this place called Delmar Hall, and it's this place in St. Louis that holds about 700 people. So that was our first big show, and that was my second show ever. And it was just a nightmare all the way through from the time we walked in the door. As soon as I walked out on stage, I tripped over my guitar cable and knocked it on its face and was completely out of tune. And then I went to grab my backup that was in the back room, and somebody knocked it over. So I had to go back out there while a whole crowd's staring at me and tune my guitar, while the people on the side are asking, "Are you ready yet? Are you ready yet? What are we waiting for here?" And it was just a horrible show all the way through. It was like the worst. That was definitely my
from that.
Huh?
How did you bounce back from that?
It was very hard to, because the show was just awful. Like I said, we weren't
next show. Did you
ready.
bounce back in the next show?
Our next show was about 3 months later, and all of our hype had died down at that time, so we just did it for fun, and it was great. Yeah, I bounced back for one show, but we needed a few months break to bounce back from that.
It sounds like it. Wow.
I would have to say one of the most embarrassing things was I was in a previous band before this one, very briefly, and it was not the greatest experience. I kind of learned where I wanted to be in a band when it came to the role of, do I just want to kind of contribute to the band, but also be like in the background? I kind of didn't know if I wanted to be in the foreground at all, of any kind. I think it was just the rhythm guitarist at the time, but we shot a music video, and the guitarist who wrote the song never gave any of the other band members the sheet music or taught us how to play it. So we showed up on the day to film this music video and didn't even know how to play the song. So we were just pretending to play the song on our guitars, and it just looked so bad. And the videographer did his best to kind of like have these fast motions and cut around and back and forth, but it was the fakest experience I've ever had, and it was so bad. And then when we released the music video, people pointed it out in the comments for sure. They're like, they're not even playing their instruments. So I left that band. I think it was the second music video they shot. I actually paid the editor $100 just to edit me out, and then I slowly just kind of left. So it was not a good experience.
So how would you say your bad experiences have helped you to grow as musicians?
For me, it was just to make sure that I was more organized, and that the band that I'm working with is more organized on meeting up ahead of time before such big shows. That was mainly the problem, is that we were just not prepared for that. And that's what I learned. You got to give yourself all the time that you need to make sure you're perfect before you even step foot out there.
Yeah, it was basically the same thing as time and preparation. And then obviously having the person who, I mean, obviously every band member needs to be, they need to see the larger picture, and they know it's going to be a long journey, but just making sure that no one amongst your bands is just in it for whatever my ex-bandmates were in it for, which was not real, I guess. They're very fabricated. I don't know. It was we didn't even have real live drums, so like all the drums on our album were computer generated, but they're computer generated in such that the type of drums that they were putting in there, you needed to find like an expert master skill level drummer, and we didn't even have one. So we already put some like blockades in front of us for that. It's just being more prepared and being realistic about things, I guess.
Okay. So would you say that there's any music you listen to that is just completely out in left field, not even close to the kind of music you produce?
I don't think. What about you, Lo? Do you listen to anything like?
I can't say that I do, because like I only listen to things that really inspire me for the most part. So if I don't like it, I really don't listen to it. So I can't say that anything would be odd, like considering that we put so much different types of music into our music.
Yeah, this album that will be released, we wanted to make sure that it in no way pigeonholed us to a certain pace or genre or type of music. We have, like you said, the electronic side, we have the rock and roll side, we have slow songs, fast songs, and anything that I listen to, some people may consider it left field. I listen to some rap, a lot of rap, different kinds of rap artists, and then I try to listen to everything. And I know a lot of people say that, but the only thing I really can't get into is like gospel and country. That's about it. And then anything I do listen to, I'm always wondering like, how can I take the essence of that and incorporate it into my music, you know?
Okay, wow. So what are you hoping to achieve within the next year with 21 CV?
Hopefully have a live show under our belt for sure.
Definitely.
Maybe some more music videos. I really like that. We've tried to tell a story in each of ours, so to continue it or just to move on to something brand new would be pretty interesting, exciting. but for sure a live show.
That's pretty much all I'm focused on too, is just getting out there and playing and just seeing how much we can grow, because that's the addiction, I would say, is once you get rolling, you just want to keep rolling. And that's the next thing for us, I would say, after this year, is to get out there and play some shows.
Well, let's hope that 2022 is much kinder for live shows than the past 2 years have been.
Definitely.
A
For
lot
sure.
have gotten canceled, and we're hoping that, I guess, next year things will be a little easier. But at this point, I don't even want to like place bets.
Yeah, I've just kind of gotten a little numb with that. I think that was another reason why we just held off as long as possible. We wanted to make sure that the society outside kind of cleared up with the rules and regulations they were wanting people to have. And I mean, as things get clarified, it'll get easier. But for right now, it's still a little confusing. I know you have to have like the COVID test and or the vaccination. And then if you don't have that, then they don't let you into a concert venue. So, I mean, just hoping that things clear up and people are kind of willing to do what they can to make sure that the live music scene is kept alive.
Do you remember your first live show that you went to as like an attendee?
Attendee, yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I do.
What was yours?
It was I went with my dad, and I was about 5, and it was this old 70s band called Grand Funk, and he had asked me. It was down at the Arch in St. Louis. They were doing like a free show there, and he asked me, have I ever felt music before? And I didn't understand what he meant by that. So he was like, I'll show you. And he took me down to the front of the stage, and it was so loud, and the bass just kicked you in the chest. And that was a very defined moment for me, that I knew I wanted to do music, was because the way I felt after that moment, I was addicted. And that was my first ever show.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Mine was Warped Tour 2014. I don't think I'd ever been to a live show that I can remember as a young kid, but my mom had gotten me some tickets for my birthday, and I went, and I got to see multiple bands play live that day. And I was the same way. I was just hooked on the energy and seeing them live. And then that opened the floodgates. And I think after that, I saw multiple shows. I just kept going to them and just absorbing all the energy and seeing how people reacted and how fun it was.
Awesome. I am so excited to hear that you guys are going to have new music. I loved hearing all your stories. I can tell that we're going to have some pretty good times ahead with 21st Century Vampire. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to be sending you guys a goodie box from my company, Crypnotic. So you'll have to check in the mail for that as a thank you for your time and your interest in doing this interview. I'm going to make sure that I share all your stuff on the main page. And guys, you can find more from 21st Century Vampires. They have a page on Instagram. They're on Spotify and all these other streaming channels. And let's stay tuned for what more they have for us. This has been Midweek Music Maelstrom, and this is your one stop for everything for new music, new artists. Come on, let's stick together.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yes, thank you.